Good morning, traders and investors. Welcome back to the second portion of our show. Market movers, Dennis. We got a lot of things moving. Where would you like to start?
Joel, there's so many things moving here today. Lots of earnings plays, lots of other information. Qualcomm's QCOM reported last night. Stock was around 55, 56 last night, but really rallying here today. 57.31 after closing at 52.18. I'm looking at this chart. $58 looks pretty big to me, and then obviously up at 60 is absolutely enormous. So it's going to be starting to come into resistance here. I think you'll get some initial resistance in this 58 area, though, Joel.
Yep, exactly. We've hit 57.50 in the pre-market. We do have a couple tops there at the 59, 48 to 80 area. Really above that 57.50, we don't have much above that.
Tons of other movers here. Might as well say Kellogg K. Wow, this is a huge move for the stock. Had earnings here this morning. They're not liking the numbers at all. Stock closed at 54.04. It's trading 51.40 right now. This is a low beta stock. This is an absolutely enormous move for Kellogg's. One of the biggest moves I've ever seen for Kellogg's. $2.50 in one day. $52 look like it should give some support. We're trading below that, so I would probably use that as resistance now. So maybe use that 52 for your swing number. What do you think on Kellogg, Joel?
Exactly. It bottomed out at 51.63 back in October, so we're just trading 20 cents below that. I'd hasten to say, man, it's such a thick stock. Well, it's not that. It doesn't add to all that much volume, but wow, if they take this thing lower on the day, I'll really be impressed. Below this key area that the October low we have, we did have some consolidation in the stock back at the end of October and November, and that was in the 48.51 to 85 area. You actually had three lows in that area. So if we can't hold here, hold out for that 48.60 to 70 area.
I mean, this is such a big move for a stock like this because it is a low beta. It's a defensive name. I mean, what do you get more defensive than your food stock? So when you see one of your food stocks down $3 here almost, that's, kind of, you gotta almost think buyers are going to come in here somewhere, at least at 50. If it got down at 50 area, you definitely got to think some buyers are going to come in. Another food stock in the media today is Kraft. They reported their last night KFT. They actually had good earnings. Stock is trading up 35.37 after closing 34.64. So there's going to be the Kraft Kellogg traders there. They're going in the opposite directions today. So what do you think on Kraft, Joel?
Maybe time to buy Kellogg's and short Krafts. But
that's what the pair traders would probably be doing from a fundamental basis anyway.
Well, just going back to that Kellogg, it hit 50.94 in the pre-market. Don't see a ton of a volume associated with that, so 51 should be a good level, good swing level. We'll bring that down. This Kraft is trading up right into resistance, major resistance at 35.67 to 70. Once again, should have some sellers in that area. We did just kind of not getting a lot of volume associated with this move either, Dennis.
Well, here's your big mover of the day, Medivation, which is symbol MDVN. So Michael, David, Victor, Nancy. Stock came out with one of their cancer drugs there. Good trials. Stock is up 121% today. So stock is trading now 36.53 after closing 16.53. That isn't a reverse split. That's just on this cancer drug news. So it must going to be a blockbuster or something there because that is a crazy move, Joel. I don't know how you even do technicals on something like this.
Pretty easy, Dennis. You look at the pre-market high, which was 38.31, which the pre-market high, folks, is 41.90. We are now $5 away from that. So we'll use that 41.90 as resistance. You do have a little volume associated with this. It looks like this stock was at 40.49 back in March of 2010. And then they must have come out with some bad news that month, because it took it all the way back under $20. Now we're back up at 40, near 40. I just can't believe that you won't see sellers stepping in this thing all the way up from 36.50 up to this 40 area. I mean, I couldn't recommend buying this stock with a 10-foot pole.
Well, maybe they're having another lift because Dendreon, their cancer drug sales were poor. So their Prevenge drug, the sales of that drug last month were poor again. This is what beat up DN a while back. It's actually beating, or a month and a half ago, and obviously it's beating up the stock here again. Trading $7.55. That's a new 52-week low. I think you'll get resistance probably at the old 52-week low of $7.81. Finding support. Now, there's an interesting task, Joel. We'll hand that over to you.
Maybe it's time to buy DN and short MDN. There's a spread for you. If you don't already have it on, put it on now.
I don't know about that one either. It's going to be a wild spread, I'll tell you that. So
I'm looking at this thing that 781 is going to be a great swing number. That was the October low. We're trading below that. Going to the monthlies to look at this thing, and the only thing I can say is back in this thing had a huge run in April of 2009. Opened the month at 427, made a 402 low, and traded up to 2120. So if it got down to 402, 405, I'd be a buyer, but there's not much below that.
RIG, which is Transocean, RIG, trading 51.59 after closing at 55.99. They reported earnings. They're not liking the earnings at all. I'm looking at this chart. It had a heck of a run from 45 to 60. Obviously, we're pulling back here now. I looked at $50. It bottomed out there two or three times in August. In September, it bottomed out there a couple times. In October, it found a little bit of resistance there in early October before breaking out. So you got to think that $50 number is going to come into play here. We're $1.50 away from there, but obviously with already a 4.5 point move, another $1.50 doesn't seem like that much. So I'll probably be trying some longs at 50. You want to be tight with the stops on this though.
Did make a pre-market low here at 50.97. Dennis, I identified that 50.25 to 53 area as a couple bumps. I do notice a large trade went off here. It looks like a couple 100,000 went off right here in the area that we're in. So either someone's puking their long or taking or taking a big shot on a long here. A little bit of both, but I'd use this pre-market low of 51 and take that for what it's worth.
I see that trade, Joel, 51, 35, 36 on FINRA. So some off-exchange trade there, basically. You've got a negotiated trade between two institutions. Somebody said, I want the hell out, and basically dumped 200,000 probably. Some institutional cross there is what we're looking at. So basically one person liked it, one person didn't at 51.35 there, and for big size. This is retail sales, Thursday here, so we have a lot of retailers reporting. One that is absolutely destroyed, ANF, which is Abercrombie and Fitch. Stock is now trading down over 10 points here, Joel. $63, actually over 11 now. $63 after closing at 74.01. I'm looking at this chart here. I would say you'd find some support maybe in that 60 area, but oh wow, Joel, this is a heck of a move for this stock.
What did they sell one thing or something?
I know, how do you kill it? That must have been really bad same-store sales. I just see the headline going by. They were weaker, but man, you wouldn't think it could knock $11 off the stock, but
no,
they are today.
Well, 62.86 is the low that it hit in the pre-market. That kind of coincides with the low that it had back in October. You had one low at 62.35 and another one at 60.04. So I called, said 62, your first stopping point, 60 under that. But boy, oh boy, you think this stock would, maybe take back some of this move, maybe, trade up to 65, 66, something like that?
Possibly here. It's a crazy move for the stock, but I'm seeing this theme here this morning, Joel. A lot of retailers, especially the apparel ones, are trading down here. I've got Kohl's trading down significantly, J.C. Penney trading down significantly, Macy's, which is M, trading down significantly. I've got L trading down, Target trading down. There's a ton of retailers, so maybe, a good trade here this morning is to look at, AEOs and one that's going the opposite. They had good earnings, so maybe they don't apply. But maybe the trade here is to look at, some of these apparel retailers that don't open down that much, and maybe there's some sympathy moves there. But just be careful because it is same-store sales, and you don't want to be trading stuff with news on it. But at the same time, if you've got so many retailers, apparel retailers trading down here, you got to think there's some potential opportunity here at the open if some of the other ones don't open down that much.
Okay. Do you have any other market movers on the radar?
Wow, there's so many, Joel. We'll just have to go through a couple more briefly here. CVS, which is a CVS Care Market, actually reported earnings. No trades to report there as of yet, but I think we should do some technical numbers because it did have earnings here this morning. I'm looking at that $36 as a good swing area, Joel. What do you think on CVS?
Yeah, it's trying to sneak up and fill that gap from 36.09 up to this 36.26 levels. I think you're running into some pretty good resistance there. This stock is really just trying to been holding 35. So 35.09 was yesterday's low, and 35.05 was a low back on the 21st. So we'll call this range 35 to 36 today in CVS.
Prudential reported earnings last night as well. It was actually trading down over $1 last night. PRU is the symbol there. Traded down 52.35 this morning. Not a lot of trades here today, but it's offered at 53.75. It looks like it's probably going to open down here again, Prudential. But, obviously the market's probably giving a little lift there too. So, it could be a setup if it doesn't open down that much. Maybe, eventually it starts to work back down to those 52s again. What do you think on Prudential, though, Joel?
Yeah, it is. You're going to get a shot, if you 53.89 was yesterday's high. So if you get something off at settlement there, you could look for a test of the 53.89 to 54 level. Above that, it really opens up. Coming back on the downside, Dennis, it did hit 51.20 in the pre-market, so we'll use that as good support.
There's so many movers here, Joel. I don't even know how we go through them all, but just remember you've got your retailers there, your apparel retailers are all trading significantly lower, even Nordstrom. I'm just looking, my whole entire filter basically is filled with apparel retailers, so they're not like in the clothing stores here this morning at all. So if you're trading any of those, expect some relative weakness in that sector. Otherwise here, financials seem to be relatively strong, Joel. A lot of the financial stocks are trading up. So that's my overall theme for today here. Anything you want to close with, Joel?
Yeah, we just don't want our traders losing their shirt trading those retailers. And as far as the
pun there for you guys.
Yeah, my stupid puns. The only one that laughs at those jokes is my wife sometimes. Coming up to that Globex high, 45.75, folks. We're running into a whole host of resistance there up to Tuesday's Globex high at 12.48. Like I said, we've already had an expanded range in the Globex session, so to continue this move north, we're gonna need some good move by the stocks. That's our show for today, folks, and we'll be back with you tomorrow.